Good day to all you glorious rascallion bastards. The name's FOXSOL. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to some more WutheringWaves. And we have another conversation topic just for you. So before we get started, I'm just going to wish you that I'm hoping that you're having a good day. I hope it was an exciting day. Mine's was pretty up there because of this. So the short version of this story for you, in case you're not interested, is that pretty much I was kicked out of a server because a topic came up about how WutheringWaves is dying, and I pretty much called every person who was saying it a moron. And they didn't quite like that. And I'm going to tell you the full story here in a second, so how about you sit down, relax, and let's get into it. So just to get into it and just to pretty much bring this story straight to the climax, I was in a server, right? And in the server that I was in, it's not like an official server. It's not really that big of a server, but it's a decent size. It had like 150 or so people in it. Good group of friends, I thought, in a sense. I thought it was a good group of content creators and stuff like this. Not so much after, we had this little tiff. Okay. Everybody is praising ZZZ. Everybody is talking about, ZZZ this, ZZZ that. And don't get me wrong, that's fine. Each to their own. You talk about what you want. And I was listening, and then they brought in WutheringWaves. And in the situation of what they brought in with WutheringWaves is how WutheringWaves is apparently dying. And I was like, okay, wait a minute, I'm interjecting myself into this conversation. What do you mean WutheringWaves is dying? Some people were bringing up, this entire gotcha funding crap that was going on. Said, oh look, ZZZ made more money than WutheringWaves. WutheringWaves, it looks like they're losing money. Blah blah blah. They were telling me how it's lack of content. How Euro games can only steal content from Genshin because the game is identical. It was a whole slew of insults and misinformation and everything that was just going on. And I'm just kind of getting a little bit annoyed. I am not going to lie. I'm kind of getting a little bit annoyed by this, but I'm trying to be as tasteful as possible in this conversation. The thing is that, like I tried to bring up, is that you do realize that, yeah, like it should be expected that ZZZ is doing much better right now on top of WutheringWaves, especially if you think about it in this regard. WutheringWaves came out a month before ZZZ, before even a release date was announced. And then, ZZZ announced itself, oh, we're going to be releasing in, July and everything. And then what ends up happening? WutheringWaves pushes their next update a little bit faster than normal. And it wasn't because they felt bad about the launch of WutheringWaves. It was because they knew the competition that was going to be coming involved. Because ZZZ, let's be honest, Hoyo owns this entire genre of gacha games, okay? And it's going to be really, really hard to compete against them. And WutheringWaves is in its baby stages. Straight up, we're in baby stage mode right now with WutheringWaves, and it's going to take some time. WutheringWaves, like I stated in some videos, I will say it like this. I think WutheringWaves, at this point in time, it is basically Genshin 2.0. There's still a lot more to WutheringWaves. There's still a lot of room for more improvements. Even the developers know this, and they are trying. They are listening. That is a good thing. Compared to, some other developers out there that don't listen to their fan base. But you're coming into a situation where WutheringWaves has not found, in my personal opinion, its identity yet. And it's one of those things to where you're gonna have to let, you know, instead of you looking at the short-term run and be like, oh well, ZZZ won. No, you gotta look at this like it's a war, it's a battle. Okay, let's put it. Let's be blatantly honest here. At this point in time, who's going right now? Y'all won the sprint. Y'all won the first battle, right? ZZZ won this first battle that y'all like to claim, even though I don't even know why we're bringing all this kind of crap up, like I said in the server. But y'all won the first battle. But the war is long, and the war can get, you know, harder. It's going to get harder. It's going to take time.
Make it fast.
In case of WutheringWaves, we're not going nowhere, you know. Content's showing up. 1.2 is coming, 1.3 is coming, 1.4 is coming. They already basically got a good idea of what they're doing. Curl Games is already structuring this. They're getting things ready. And why are you even concerned? You know, why is this even being brought up? Oh, well, you know, your game sucks. You know, you're following, you're stealing from Genshin, you're stealing all this. It's like, I agree. There's a lot of things that is very similar, but let the devs cook. And you'll see in the long run that, you know, WutheringWaves will make its own niche. And I don't think that WutheringWaves is dying. I don't think WutheringWaves has failed. I think that right now, at this point in time, we're just waiting. A lot of people, including myself, is just waiting on one thing and one thing only: more content. You know, when you play this game since the day of its release, and you get to the point to where even like I'm at, you beat the story mode pretty much. You've been working on your characters and such. There's no end game to the game right now. There's nothing in here except for us being patient and waiting for new content. And I'm sorry to say this, but like WutheringWaves marketing campaign, I feel was lacking. So at that point in time, you know, I didn't even know anything about WutheringWaves really, unless it wouldn't have been for my friend that had told me about it. And then after D&D night, we tossed on to it. ZZZ, I've heard about that game since like last year or 2 years ago, like because of its own internal marketing. Hoyo did its best, you know. There was more marketing, there was more behind it that makes it a more successable game. Doesn't mean that it is a, you know, it's winning. It doesn't mean that it like all of a sudden now, WutheringWaves is dying because ZZZ's out. Prime example. Street Fighter, we'll go in fighting games terminology. In fighting games, Street Fighter will reign supreme. It's going to be the household name. It's going to be the market name of fighting games. When you say, hey, I play fighting games, 9 out of 10 times, Street Fighter is going to be the first one that everybody's going to associate their thought pattern with. It's like, oh, Street Fighter, where I didn't play Street Fighter. I played Guilty Gear, and that's a fighting game. Guilty Gear was a very, very niched community. It was a game that came out and that, you know, not too many people knew about it. Not too many people, but the people who knew about it enjoyed it, loved it, and the game didn't die. What ended up happening with that game, in all honesty, is straight up is that it had no marketing. It had very poor limited marketing, which caused it to have these issues. And I see kind of the same thing with WutheringWaves, is that, you know, WutheringWaves, I think, was very successful in its launch. I think it's very successful as a game in a whole. I think that there is some things that just needs to be improved on. Even the devs, like I said, the devs themselves have stated that they are working on life improvements on the game, and that's a good thing. I think in the short term, you know, games like ZZZ, it was a bad timing. Okay. WutheringWaves launch, I wish would not have been so close to ZZZ, but we have to remember that WutheringWaves announced their launch date, and then all of a sudden it comes out, and then, oh boy, all of a sudden ZZZ comes out that, oh, we're coming out next month. It's just bad timing. If WutheringWaves would have came out in January, February, you know, or even after ZZZ, I think that it would have had more of a successful drive. But a lot of people that I know of, when they start playing Wavering Waves, they stop because, oh, ZZZ's coming out. This is what I've been waiting for. So I'm not going to invest my time in Wavering Waves no more. And that's to them. I mean, that's not a big deal. I mean, I let them be who they want to be. Let them play what they want to play. There's nothing wrong with that. But that goes to show that when everything came down, there was just issues that kind of hurt Wavering Waves in a lot of recourse. You know, just, hey, launch of ZZZ wasn't something that was easy. I mean, if ZZZ would have waited, like, if they would have been like another 2 or 3 months, maybe another 6 months, Wavering Waves probably would have been dominating a lot better, a lot more, because people were waiting for new things. You know, they're waiting for a new gacha in all general. They're waiting. I'm waiting for something to play. Now, Hoyo fans and everything else that would have came into Wavering Waves, you know, they're switching to ZZZ because that's their company. They trust it. They love it. They've been following it, and they finally got a release date. It's kind of close to Wavering Waves, and to them, you got to think of it like this. There's a lot of people, they claim that they're free to play, but some of them aren't really free to play. Where they're going to spend their money, where they're going to actually invest their time into. You know, it's kind of expensive to run like 2 or 3 gacha games at one time. Free to well, not if you're free to play, I know that, but you know, if you're a person who spends money a little bit here, a little bit there, you know, it's kind of expensive, and even your time is very valuable. So I think that a lot of case scenario, a lot of people, you said, you know what, they played Wavering Waves, they came up with the idea, this is just Genshin 2.0, and you know, they're not wrong. And then they looked at ZZZ, it's something different and everything else, and they moved on to that. Whereas people like you and me who still plays like Wavering Waves, and we still talk about it and such, we're not too fancy about ZZZ. We're really not. But is it killing Wavering Waves? No. Okay. Let the game cook. Let Kuro cook. I'll mark my words, okay? Mark my words. Give the game 6 months. Give the game till December, at least till December, okay? And you're going to see Wavering Waves do a full 360, in my personal opinion. You're going to see a game that is going to be completely, by that time, more self-identifiable to itself and not to Genshin, not to Hoyo. It's going to be Wavering Waves, and then at that point in time, people who's comparing this to, you know, Genshin Impact, you're right about vanilla, but the new version is going to be completely different. That's what I really think is going to end up happening. But I just think it's funny that I get kicked out of a server because I'm arguing the point that, look, you're claiming that the game's dying, but I see a lot of people play this game. I see a lot of people that enjoy this game. I see a lot of people waiting for, you know, 1.2's release, 1.3's release, even 2.0. They're waiting for certain things. They're waiting for Scar to come out. They're waiting for Camellia to come out. You know, there's other content that people waiting for, and it's just when that content's going to hit, you're going to see spikes that's just going to come in. If Kuro Games did more marketing, I think, you know, I'm sure the game would legitimately pull in more. But I think that it's been a very, very successful launch. I think the game is very successful for what it is. I don't think that this game is dying. It's not like, you know, this game had over 14 million downloads, and then in the next month that 14 million downloads was, you know, 10 million of it was uninstalling the game. You know, I think that yes, there is a little bit of a player droppage that happened, but it's not a player droppage that was foreseen. It was circumstances that ended up happening that kind of caused that, and no one No one could have predicted that. No one could have, you know, actually thought that that was going to happen. Like I said, when ZZZ announced right after WutheringWaves released that what they were going to do, a lot of people I know of, yeah, they just played WutheringWaves until ZZZ's released because they were more concerned and more interested, and they didn't give WutheringWaves, in my personal opinion, a fair shot. I think that some people didn't. They heard ZZZ, they heard release date, they jump ship as soon as possible. But hey, it is what it is. I'm not gonna blame them. If they prefer that, they prefer that. I think that, you know, once again, I'll just repeat myself one last time. And if this game would have been released a lot sooner, or this game would have been released a lot later to try to avoid the situation of competing with, you know, another gacha game at the same time period, I think this game would have had a higher review status on it that would have been more favorable. But now we got people who are just attacking WutheringWaves. We got people who, you know, all kinds of crap is going on, and it's stupid as hell. But tell me your thoughts down below. Like, I mean, you can say, if you think that WutheringWaves is dying, go ahead and say it. I don't think it's dying. I think WutheringWaves is just beginning. Like I said, this is the beginning of the battle. We had some issues, but going forward from here, the end of the race is a long one, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to get to that halfway mark before ZZZ, and we're going to showcase that this game is going to be one of the very best gachas that it can be. We just got to let the devs cook, and like I said, at least they listen. So again, just let me know what your thoughts is down below, criticism, feedback, all that good jazz. And guys, I don't know what else to say other than this, but you all have yourself a wonderful day wherever you're at. You take it easy, and I tell you what, I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.